Hello and welcome to A Day with the Cart Driver, covering the summer 2012 anime season. You have not gone back in time. This is not a very old podcast. This is a retrospective. Anyway, I'm here with Day.
I'm here with Scamp.
How are you?
This season was absolute shite.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, this is going to be a very short episode.
It wasn't complete shite. It's just it was it was a very thin season, and what aired, a lot of it wasn't particularly good.
Unless you were really one of those people who, and there are a lot of them, who are very much into Sword Art Online.
You know, Sword Art Online, I remember hearing about before it aired. It was like, the light novels are huge in Japan. This thing is big, and
They weren't lying.
the thing is, though, I had no idea what the hell these were. Like, well, but what's the story? What's this? What's nothing at all. So I just kept having in my head these images of, like, sword art that was online, like websites full of sword art. And I kept thinking, but how is there a show like this? I mean, I knew that it couldn't be that, but that's just what came to mind.
And then someone pointed out, oh, it's Dot Hack.
Yeah.
Even though technically the light novels predate the Dot Hack series. Anyway, this is where the modern trend, which is continuing and in massive, like in earnest today, the isekai trend.
Well, it's also, I find it interesting that it reignited isekai as a genre, but in a way that was very different from, the higher fantasy type things you saw in the 90s.
Yeah, those higher fantasy, for one, those were mostly shoujo.
I wouldn't go that far. There are some very prominent examples, certainly, but there are an awful lot of light novel adaptations of isekai in the 90s that were definitely not shoujo.
Such as, like, Lotus War?
Yeah, Lotus War,
Because calling them light novels, but yeah.
Well, why not call them light novels?
Because the term didn't really exist back then.
Well, just because we weren't aware of it doesn't mean it didn't exist.
I mean, like, the concept of them as a marketing term in Japan. Because I was reading about this the other day, and it basically started with Boogie Pop Phantom, or whatever they call it. Boogie Pop Doesn't Lie or something.
I thought it was Boogie Pop Doesn't Laugh.
Doesn't laugh, yes. But
Actually, there might be a few, like Boogie Pop Doesn't Laugh, Boogie Pop Doesn't... Anyway, whatever, It doesn't really matter. Tenchi Muyo, for example, there were light novels in the 90s for Tenchi Muyo. Outlaw Star, there were light novels for that.
Was an Outlaw Star light novel first, or was that anime original?
I think it was... now I'm not so sure. It's been a while since I've looked at any of it.
Anyway.
But what's interesting there is I don't think the light novels for Outlaw Star stopped until a significant amount after the anime. Which is interesting because the anime didn't do that well in Japan. Anyway, we're getting kind of abroad of what we wanted to discuss.
I mean, yes, Sword Art, but then Sword Art Online comes out and is huge. Like, so I was thinking earlier, like, I think there are 5 anime from this decade that are the biggest from the decade. They would be Attack on Titan, Yuri on Ice, My Hero Academia, Sword Art Online, and Your Name.
Is it kind of mixing apples and oranges to include a movie?
Yeah, but I guess we just have to just restrict to anime.
I mean, if we want to if we want to have that sort of, well, when we say big, what do we mean?
Influence over the industry.
Okay. All right, then where do we put Love Live?
Oh, shit, yes.
I think...
oh God, what would you kick out then?
I mean, because if we're also...
Maybe kick out Yuri on Ice?
Because I was thinking, when you mentioned Your Name, and I was thinking movies, my God, the Love Live, the first movie sold an obscene amount of discs. We're talking like 500,000 type range.
But the fact that you wouldn't necessarily argue that Sword Art Online belongs in there, though.
I mean, I didn't say it didn't.
Yeah, that thing was...
Very influential.
Influential, popular, crap.
It occurs to me, Sword Art Online, now I'm wondering, is that one of the initial examples? Because it was originally a web novel.
Yes.
And it ended up then being, published as a light novel with a fairly significant amount of editing in between. And now I'm curious, was that one of the earliest examples, or was that one of the what would be the word? Triggering examples of the web novel to light novel.
Yeah, because he's been writing that since he was like 15. That's why the early chapters are kind of shite. Well, okay. Anyway, but yes, he'd been writing it since he was like 15 or so.
Yeah, I know he started quite early.
And so that I think it was running in
and
like...
there are an awful lot of things now that they did start as web novels.
Yeah. I'm trying to think like...
Well,
I can think
actually, that's been true for a while.
Yeah, but I know there's a number of manga.
I wonder what the earliest example was. You know, it might not be the earliest, but it might be one of the ones that really boosted the whole thing. But I don't know enough about its publishing
Boosted it
history.
as a place to go find things. Because obviously there's like Italia was a web manga, for example.
Yes.
Or One Punch Man was quite famous because it had really terrible art.
There are so many light novels that start out on the web.
Yeah.
To the extent that at this point, and the thing is too, so many of those originally web novels, now light novels, are getting published in English.
But so much of other things that like Sword Art Online brought on is like not just the isekai, the idea of
also
being
very specifically the trapped in a video game.
trapped in a video game.
It was not the first, but it definitely spurred the most.
But it's actually more than that. It's not more than that, but it's like if anything, the video game part has been dropping lately. To instead, you're just being reborn in a world that is very similar very similar to a fantasy. Like there's things like Overlord that is still a video game, but things like Ray Zero is like that's not a video game. It's just a fantasy.
You know, the video game thing continues as a particular thing within light novels is big, but you're right. A lot of it is now just they're straight up whacking the person at the start.
Yeah.
Or they're whacking people who are then getting stuck in a video game, but it's not, I can log out. It really is, no, this is my life now.
Yeah, but it's also like video game-esque worlds. It's like MMORPGs specifically is what they're getting caught in.
Yeah, because then you have things that they're not in a video game. It's not technically isekai, but they're using a lot of the video game mechanics.
Yeah.
Probably the most prominent example is it okay to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Oh, yeah. Or, yes.
Which, by the way, folks, if you have to ask, the answer is probably no.
What's your one? You like Grimgar?
Oh, yes. You know, wasn't something of his recently? Oh, no, the director was given something to do, and he's done a terrible job.
Oh, what was it?
The Fairy Gone guy, didn't he not direct the
yeah.
Grimgar show? Anyway, but we can talk about Fairy Gone in a much
we're
later
basically
date.
all kind of that. We're not really talking about Sword Art Online because, let's be honest, neither of us actually like Sword Art Online.
You know, I watched a little bit of the second season.
Gun Girl?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, I think I was like, wait, so you're turning the lead into a girl? Okay, well, that's a little curious. Let's see what this shit is.
Yeah.
And, well, we can... No, I'm sorry. I have to talk about the part where someone gets shot through an electrical outlet because that was fucking hilarious. But as for the original Sword Art Online, no, I didn't watch it because it just... Nothing about it is of any interest to me whatsoever.
Thankfully for me, I'd been kind of pre-warned because Excel World came the season before, which is worse, but also like laid out the same kind of general, like we're just going to hand you stuff. Because like Kirito he's not the worst example of it, but I believe the phrase is Gary Stew. Everything just falls into his lap and he's the ultimate perfect everything, and he's got all these girls who love him. No, the guys are jealous and want to be him. He was I
will say this in his favor. As a character type, I don't really like that. I will though say it's nice that he isn't an asshole, because a lot of the subsequent versions of this story you saw getting crapped out by other creators. Instead they're like, no, my hero's an asshole. See, that's why he's cool and aspirational. Kirito, I will absolutely grant, even if it's an annoying character type, in all that I have experienced of Sword Art Online, which admittedly isn't much, but in all the discussions I see of other people and the live tweeting, Kirito's not an asshole.
No.
And he usually is trying to do the right thing. You might look at it and go, well, child, no, not really. But you at least know his heart's in the right place.
It also, gave us the infamous April Fool's chapter of the light novel.
2 years worth of... Yeah. Anyway, if you don't know what that is, I suppose that's a good thing.
Google it. Imagine like a bowl of yogurt.
Alright, look folks. If you have a basic understanding of human biology, you would never accidentally think that some 2 years worth of semen could be stored in anybody's body.
Day.
What? You're telling them to look it up. That's far worse.
Look, it's okay to engage someone's curiosity, but then...
You know, engaging people's curiosity isn't usually, let's send them to go find something fucking horrible.
It's very erotic, I'll have you know.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, folks, bodies don't work that way.
Let's move on.
Speaking of light novels...
Yeah, so, to be honest, everything else after this is pretty small, apart from maybe
Actually,
these
I think there are a lot of others that are light novel adaptations looking at this list here.
Yeah, but like, so there's 2 other shows that are probably worth talking about this season.
I mean, there's some that I would argue are worth talking about because it's good to vent one's feelings of negativity.
Yes.
But,
well, yeah, we'll vent.
But yes,
one
light
of them
novels, though.
Was the very, very strange light novel coming out of Gangan Online, which I quickly learned is the place where all the weird light novels come from, is Humanity Has Declined by Romeo Tanaka. I always remember his name because his name is Romeo. I was thinking about this, and some of the stuff in it is almost Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy-esque.
Yes.
In terms of just like bizarre sci-fi. Kind of like, one of the images in the show that stuck with me is this idea of a jar of marmalade that had gained sentience but had no way of expressing that sentience, so lived in a form of constant like existential horror, and that was just a throwaway gag, and I was just like, this is horrifying. Or like the piece of bread in the first episode
that tears its head open.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I would critique that particular thing as falling within this very trendy thing of, oh, modernity is horrible. You know, food companies are trying to kill you, which I don't think is particularly helpful, but humanity has declined because you haven't dropped the title yet.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
What? Oh, you did at the
Yes.
beginning. I'm so with it.
This was a, like, not all...
Not everything worked.
No,
there were some story arcs that were like...
Yeah. Which for a 12-episode show to have, like, maybe half of this show to, like, not quite work sounds damning. It kind of is. But the parts that work stick with you. You
know, and the parts that don't work, I can at least appreciate that they were trying to do something different.
Time Paradog.
Yes. I really appreciated the smaller arc about accidentally reinventing the yaoi industry.
Okay.
I also really enjoyed the arc where the heroine ends up on a deserted island, and at first she becomes basically the god empress of the fairies.
That's one of the best arcs, I think.
Yeah.
I think that one was
There's
one of my
some
favorites.
callbacks to Gulliver's Travels in that.
Yes. That's actually one of the best episodes, because that's a one-episode thing.
So the show, it's, as the title implies, humanity is in decline. It takes place in, you know, what is basically a post-industrial world in which human population has shrunk significantly. It's not growing, and no one really is bothered by that. There's a few people who are bothered by it, but most people are just like, this is just what it is.
Yeah, this is just humanity, like, we're on our way out. That's just how it is.
Yeah, and
which is weirdly horrifying to me.
There's also these, there's a race of creatures, fairies, which are... I don't know, about the size of your fist. And their faces are constantly in a rictus of a grin. Like, their mouths are huge, and they've got little beady eyes, and they have no facial expressions other than a big old grin. Which means you then get scenes where these absolutely adorable creatures are saying really horrifying things with that look on their face.
Eternal suffering.
Yeah.
There's one screen cap of that.
I also remember there's one point where the heroine she's supposed to, her job is like basically trying to manage relations between humans and fairies.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point she comments on the fact that fairies just seem to multiply overnight if you don't carefully separate them.
Yeah, and you've got to feed them sugar to
yeah, they like sugar a lot.
I'm just remembering some of the weird details in the show, like how
It's a bizarre show. I really liked it.
I really liked as well, like some of the like there's the kind of like the main character's boss sort of has a collection of old hunting rifles and guns, and he like occasionally takes them down, and polishes them in a very phallic way. But and they were like, well, I was like, do you ever use these? It's like, how do you end up all of these? It's like, well, people just left them around. No one cares anymore, so no one goes to war. And it's just, it's a humorous, so it's like, it's a comedy, but it's got this weird darkness.
You know, it's a very, very rare example of something that is an apocalyptic story that's completely not. It is.
Yeah.
I put it. Well, it's an apocalyptic story that takes a very sedate approach and isn't about, things crashing into Earth or food shortages or everything being on fire. It's just, this is just what's happening.
Schools are shutting just because no one attends them anymore.
Yeah, I think she's like one of 3 students, and then they decide to close the school after she graduates.
And it's such a strange, weird, wonderful show that doesn't work. A lot of it doesn't work, but God, it sticks with you.
The ending theme echoes the overall.
I don't remember how it goes.
So it's her. She is.
I remember the opening.
It's done in a more abstract. Well, the heroine is depicted through most of it walking along, bouncing along a bit, but then at the end of it she lies down and curls up, and as the song is ending, like the weeds are covering her up, which echoes what's going on in the show.
And then there's the opening, which is bop bop ba da bop bop ba da bop bop ba da bop.
Okay, not in my ear.
Anyway, so the other thing probably worth talking about this season is Wolf Children by Mamoru Hosoda, the director of Girl Who Leapt Through Time, Summer Wars, and this is his and that one Digimon movie that's just Summer Wars.
Our War Game!
Which was just another movie of him being like, yo, do you know what I'm into? Families and furries.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of... Except in A Girl Left Through Time, it's the only one that's completely different, but this one definitely kind of continues a trend of his. I swear what Wolf Children is known for most nowadays is what the videos are taken for the YouTube channel that is...
Lo-fi hip-hop beats.
To chill.
Like, to study to. And it's that girl who's studying to the lo-fi hip-hop beats.
And that clip comes from Wolf Children.
At the time, it was known as, woman has sex with a wolf man?
Yes, because that scene where she's studying is her studying wolf biology, and then she fucks a wolf straight afterwards.
Huh.
Like, literally the next scene.
Huh. Well.
Yeah.
Huh. He's more man-like, though, right? At the time he
looks like a fursuit, basically, at that stage.
What?
Yeah, no, he looks like a proper...
I think people can tell, by the way. I have not seen this. I'm not a big fan of Hosoda.
I've seen it. I think this was the render.
In fact, let me rephrase that. I actually don't really like Hosoda's stuff.
Not even the Digimon movie?
No, well, I hesitate there because I saw the dub that was released back in... God, what year would that have been? I was still in high school. That's how long ago it was. And... it's difficult for me to assess because I'm actually not sure to what degree that portion of the movie was left intact. Because they also... So the Digimon... To say the Digimon movie's dub is a bit misleading in the sense that they took 3 separate things and mashed them together.
Oh, it's a Robotech.
Not Robotech style. You know the different parts. There's interstitial stuff that indicates, we're going into a different narrative. But it was still a very strange thing. And I know parts of it were hacked up pretty badly, but I don't know which parts. So, to say I didn't like Our War Game is somewhat misleading because I don't know to what degree I've actually seen it.
I kind of liked Summer Wars. I think that's because I saw it with my family. But yeah, Wolf Children was where I started to realize that maybe I wasn't actually that keen on Hosoda after all. And And yeah, his latest movies have just kind of came and went. It feels like
What else has he done?
Boy and the
The
Beast.
Boy and the Beast.
Which I swear, because one
I
Wolf
saw
Children.
reviews for that were basically like, yeah, this is basically just everything else he's done.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really bring us anything different.
Because when Wolf Children came out, it was actually a big deal.
Oh god, it was huge.
Yeah, but it's...
Wolf Children was the sort of thing that got reviewed in mainstream type
Yes.
publications in the West.
Yeah. Definitely one of the... But yeah, it seemed like his star has dimmed since then. People are now all on the Shinkai film train at this stage.
Yeah.
Anyway, there hasn't been a big hit, though, since Your Name, I don't think.
I mean,
Well, okay,
Your Name wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, well, that's 2016. Anyway.
Oh, ancient history.
Ancient history. Anyway.
Doesn't he has something else in the works?
Yeah, it's coming out very soon, actually.
Yeah, the rest of what we have to talk about is admittedly variations of...
Shite.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would. So we got a big...
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You thought Akito the Exiled was shite.
Oh yeah, so we do have some Code Geass OVAs in this season.
Yeah.
Akito the Exiled and Nunnery in Wonderland. Akito the Exiled is a spin-off thing with cool CG mecha battle, spider robots, ninjas, and people getting all very dramatic and Code Geassy. And Nunnery in Wonderland is a dumb, basically flat animated thing in which Suzaku spins around in a big circle.
So I actually have seen some of Akito the Exiled, although I've not watched Code Geass because... I basically thought, well, I don't really feel like watching all of Code Geass. There's an awful lot of it to get through. Well, I'll just try this OVA thing. And I dropped it a few minutes into the second episode because I really got kind of sick of, when you have Japanese characters bitching about being colonized to Chinese characters, it's just not really what I'm there for. It's a bit rich for a country to have that sort of attitude given their history with colonialism.
Yeah, so I guess as someone who likes Code Geass and is long since just sort of accepted it's some weird, slightly nationalistic thing.
Well, see, part of it is too, though, I would argue that Sunrise has a very bad record when it comes to, in particular, dealing with Chinese characters.
Yes.
So to me, Akito the Exiled, it was like, oh, okay, I see we're going back to drown ourselves in the same well that we kept flinging ourselves into in the mid-90s, which is to say, shitty racist depictions and attitudes. Yeah. Sunrise does not have a good record with depicting Chinese people or, depicting characters reacting to Chinese people. They had crappy stuff about, Gundam Wing has it, Brain Powered has it.
Code Geass Season 2 has it.
I'm sick of Sunrise doing that,
Anyway.
and I didn't feel a need to keep watching.
Yeah. For me, I actually really liked episode 1 was alright and episode 2 was really good. And then the last episodes completely fell apart, so ultimately, really, really fell apart. And it didn't even have the, good ending redemption that, the original Code Geass had. So actually, of the two, Nunnery in Wonderland is better. It's very stupid, but it's full of in-jokes. It's kind of funny. But yeah, apart from everything else, we've got a big list here are all the most popular anime of this season. They're all crappy boob light novels.
Okay. You keep not letting me defend Arcana Familia.
Oh, okay.
You keep saying everything's shite. Arcana Familia is not what I would call great. I think it's incredibly harmed by its short runtime because they had to mash a lot of stuff in. But it's decent. And given that so many Otome game adaptations, even at this time, were with total non-entity heroines, I appreciated something like Arcana Familia giving us a heroine who is actively fighting for herself during the entire show. Granted, the premise isn't great. She's the daughter of, I don't think they straight up say they're mafia, but they basically are.
Yes.
It takes place in Italy. And her dad's like, all right, you're getting old enough to marry, so I'm going to have a big tournament where all the guys can fight, and whoever wins gets you. And she's like, what the No, she's like, what the fuck, Dad? Well, what if I compete and I win? And he's like, well, if you compete and you win, then you get to do whatever the fuck you want. So she's like, all right, that's what I'm doing. But you really don't get any of the tournament because there's not enough time to do it.
Oh, God.
So it's mostly her spending time with her childhood friends.
Wait. What?
Yeah.
Wait, so they introduce a whole tournament arc and then no one does anything?
Not that no one does anything. There's a little bit of it. It's just there's not really enough time to do the full thing. So there's a lot of her
weirdly
running around.
Hilarious to
There's
me.
a lot of time running around town with her two childhood friends, who of course are both madly in love with her.
That's like Made in Abyss introduced a big hole in the ground and then no one goes in the hole in the ground.
Look, I can appreciate that kind of bold storytelling. Like, wow, check out that monster. Okay, now we're going to bake cakes for the next 10 episodes.
Made in Abyss, they just never went in the hole.
That would be funny. I mean, it's a good show.
Yeah.
But that would be hilarious. See, that's the kind of thing I would appreciate because it's the sort of thing that if I were a showrunner,
Yeah.
I would totally pull that shit. I'd be like, wow, there's this huge tree, and like, the tree governs the entire world, and you know, people are planning to climb up it to go fuck up the ones up in the tree who are controlling the world. And then it would be about, you know, my love of diving or something. I don't have a love of diving. I'm making shit up, folks. That would be great.
So I actually am going to defend another show this season.
Uh-oh.
I kind of like Utakoi. This was about, you know, Chihaya Furu.
Yes, I know. It's one of the poems.
It's all the poems. It's basically the story behind how all the poems were written on the Chihaya on the.
Oh, it's what's his face? Oh, something Monogatari.
Genji Monogatari.
Tale of Genji.
But it's him, but also all these other people as well. So it's basically all those stories done in anime form, and it's perfectly fine. Had a catchy OP, I remember. Had one episode where they played Chihaya Furu cards like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which was weird. But yeah, I don't know. They have 100 poems or 1,000 poems?
100?
100 poems. Yeah, that is a collection. Oh, and the guy who collected all those poems, it's kind of like him recounting the story of how he got all of them, basically. Yeah, and where they all came from. It's alright, you know. It's not particularly memorable, but it was alright.
Certainly better than the other Tamina show this season.
What was the other? Oh god, Natsuyuki Rendezvous. So, I mean, this is a good fit for Noitamina, technically. It's a josei manga adaptation. It deals with adults. It's so on and so forth.
It's bonkers.
So, the plot is about... Did you watch this at all?
I watched the first couple of episodes and I was like, whoa, no. This is way too close to body swap stuff and I don't like that.
I think I watched a little bit further than you. It's about a guy who finds this flower shop owner who he fancies, an older woman. Finds that the older woman is a widower.
No, she would be a widow.
She's a widow.
Widower would be the dude.
But then encounters the ghost of her dead husband, who gets kind of grumpy that he's like chatting up his ex-wife. And then there's a scene in which the ghost inhabits the body of the younger man and then has sex with his dead wife. And that was around about the point I decided, I'm not going to watch this anymore. This is weird. I am uncomfortable with this. Anyway.
And then there's a show that used to be on Noitamina and finally got the sequel everybody had been hoping for. And then everybody's like, oh god, this is one of those examples of the monkey's paw. So Moyashimon returns. Moyashimon, the original, had been a minor hit.
Yeah, it was a pretty
Noitamina. It was pretty popular.
Around about the time Noitamina was like, I mean, Noitamina broke out straight away because his first show was 100.
For the record, I went back and rewatched it, and a lot of what goes on in that is actually really creepy. Mm-hmm. And it's not really that funny.
It does, however, open with the professor digging up a dead seal, pulling out the seagulls inside and sucking out their guts and going, tasty.
Yeah, but it also...
Yes.
So that was in the original. It also, though, definitely had a lot of issues with...
Date rape?
Ha ha ha, isn't it funny if we're trying to win these things that are supposedly date rape drugs?
Oh, yeah.
Ha ha ha, isn't that so funny? So I found rewatching it was sort of like, ew. Some of the episodes are still good, but a lot of it's like, ew. What?
Yeah. And then
Moyashimon Returns, so
was the most feckless anime.
I remember watching it, and it was very boring. That was the thing that struck me. Also, They changed the character designs a significant bit, so the characters ended up looking a lot younger and, well, cuter.
Yeah.
And that did not go over well at all with
No.
the fan base.
It's complete feckless anime. It doesn't. It's no. It's just. It loses absolutely everything and gains nothing. It's like Dominion Tank Police to the sequel to Dominion Tank Police. It just loses every edge it had, and just turns into this fucking bland piece of shite.
I watched, I don't know, 3 or 4 episodes. This was before I'd rewatched the original. And yeah, it was weirdly non-event.
Yeah.
Full.
Which is
Just, it introduced a mystery that really wasn't that interesting at all.
I don't even remember what happened. I just remember being feckless.
Yeah, like, there's something with the, like, oh, I'm seeing microbes here, but why? And but it wasn't of any interest whatsoever. Oh, and they ended up focusing a lot of time on my least favorite member of the cast. The blonde girl there.
I remember nothing. Except that it was shit.
That was Moyashimon Returns.
Most of the most popular stuff this season were just crappy light novel adaptations. Like, if you end up just sticking them all on a big list here. Campione.
Which had an Italian-esque title. I guess that was its...
And it had aggressive boob grabbing.
Did it? I just remember the lead woman had a fabulous red dress.
Oh, she did, yes.
I did remember that. And I didn't watch it, but she had a fabulous red dress.
And then there was Oda Nobuna no Yabo.
No, wasn't it Oda Nobuna?
Oda Nobuna, which was one of the seemingly endless parade of Oda Nobunaga's now a hot babe. That's all I remember about it.
So really that much that's Oda Nobunaga's a hot babe?
There was like 4 in short succession.
Okay, fine.
Aesthetica of a rogue hero.
Oh, this is the one where... I'm pretty sure this is the one wherein in one episode that is like, oh, heartwarming, by which I mean not at all, they get locked in a gym storage closet or something because the hero's like, no, these 2 girls need to get along, and so that he locks them all in a gym storage closet to the point where both the girls have to pee and he won't open the door, so they end up wetting themselves, and this is their bonding moment.
Anyway, there's I Can't H.
I Can't Play H.
I Can't Play H. Which was another booby show.
I think the premise there is he's not allowed to look at porny shit because then, like, the world will die? I don't know.
That's punchline.
There's more than... Okay, that's also My Balls, for that matter. It's not exactly a unique...
There's Love, Elections, and Chocolate, which you saw.
I saw a single episode.
Oh.
This is just like, we've got the student government and we're having elections. And it's also kind of harem-y, but also the one thing that I remember the only thing people seem to remember of this is I still, once in a blue moon, will see people like reposting stuff from, I guess there was a chocolate eating scene that was kind of homoerotic.
Yes.
I think the biggest one, though, at least for you,
because I watched,
would be My Little Sister is Among Them, Naka-Emo, or
Who is Emoto? Which, one day, myself and Shinmaru, my ex-co-blogger, who is now currently a
wrestling freak,
a wrestling fanatic for Japanese female wrestling. It's all he tweets about nowadays, God bless him. We did co-blogged Who is Emoto and wrote the most nonsensical posts you could possibly read. They are works of art. Read them.
Did you do a mind map?
Yes, I did a mind map. I bought a bunch of A3s, stellated them together, and scribbled out a big mind map of Who is Emoto.
What happened to those?
It was burnt in a ceremonial.
I just figured when your parents moved, they probably tossed it.
Oh, I don't know. There's still a picture of it somewhere. Who is Emoto was a thing. Who is Emoto? It's complete and utter unbelievable garbage. It is so brainless, so stupid. Also weirdly
it was very homophobic.
Yeah, it was weirdly homophobic as well. It's the pure, total, unrelenting garbage. But just...
By the way, in case you're wondering about the premise...
Oh, yes.
It involves an innocent young man who ends up at some fancy school, and somehow it's like, your little sister is here, but then all these girls are like throwing themselves at him, and it's like, oh shit, but I might be the older brother of one of these girls who is trying to get my dick.
Yes, it's
Now
basically
what?
Russian roulette with your penis. Yep. Anyway, that was
Wait a minute.
Because it's like, oh no, which one?
What? Because you get erectile dysfunction, so you don't. Never mind.
No, because you stick
Shooting blanks.
No, it's like I was like, oh,
I
it's
know.
like spin all these vaginas.
But how could I resist the idea of blanks?
Yes. Okay.
Anyway, I think the cream puff girl was kind of cute, but I didn't watch any of it. I only saw screen caps and other people's summaries of it. And there's a girl, and there's some scene she's sitting in the bath and she's soaping herself up, and she refers to her breasts as her cream puffs.
Yes, that was the thing that happened in that show.
Anyway, she was kind of cute.
Okay, dear. Anyway,
Oh God,
might as well
what else?
just clear up the last of the things
Oh,
in this
there's
season.
Muff Love Alternative Total Eclipse, which is one of those ones that's like, no guys, this is like deep and meaningful because like we have international relations, but the international relations are girls screaming at each other while wearing bikinis. Someone's gonna get upset with me for characterizing it that way, but I can live with that.
I think Muff Love Alternative fans have constantly been annoyed that they only ever adapt everything that's not Muff Love Alternative. Because Total Eclipse was a spin-off novel that wasn't very good in the first place.
I mean, I know that people like got their faces eaten off in the first episode. It's just I also know there were beach episodes.
Yeah. I actually watched part of this and I remember fucking nothing. I think I remember thinking one of the ladies was very attractive.
Oh, Joshiraku. There's got a bit of attention at the time because it was like...
The author of Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei.
And it involved voice actresses who weren't they having like wordplay type things? Anyway, though, it turned out there was some racist shit in it, and so that, of course, blew up its profile even more. And
it's something you realize gradually the more you watch Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei is that the author was actually super right wing.
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing with Joshiraku, I remember it was specifically there was some joke made at the expense of Koreans.
it was give us back our islands.
Yeah.
This isn't bog standard like duh stupid Chinese sunrise racism. This is fucking I know my shit racism.
Yeah.
It was, but yeah, like that's just it was a throwaway gag.
Yeah, and some of because I remember getting a little contentious at the time, but among Western fans because a lot of people lacked the context to understand how racist it was. So you had people saying like, "Oh no, it's totally fine. What the hell are you talking about?" And other people like, "No, folks, look, there's a really long history here, and this is not just harmless crap."
So I think I watched like 2 episodes of this. I remember that scene thinking like, did they really just do that? But like it was also one gag. One thing that I also remember about the show was that it always opened with them doing thing where you sit in a cushion and tell a story.
Oh, Rakugo?
Yeah, they'd always open doing Rakugo.
But no one knew what Rakugo was at that point.
Yes.
So, and by no one I mean Western fans.
Yeah, so yeah, that thing you're talking about, that was like one throwaway gag. It was a gag that was like, wait, really? You just did that? But I actually think Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei would often have things like that in there.
Yeah, it was just
yeah.
with Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei, some of
good luck keeping up with it.
Yeah, good luck keeping up with it. Also, a lot of people just stopped keeping up with it after the first season because it was such a demand on people's attention watching it.
Also, I think fan subbers were like, what is this? Do I really have to translate this?
Yeah, it probably benefited from some difficulties with translation on the part of fan subbers, helped cover up some of the perhaps more questionable moments.
But yeah,
he's a big time right wing nationalist.
Yeah. Anyway, is that everything? Bimbogami.
Bimbogami God. This was a Shonen Jump adaptation involving, like the,
God of Poverty messing with.
God of ill luck / poverty messing with a high school girl who has
lots of luck.
All of the luck.
Yeah. And the only thing good about this show was listening to Hanakana scream a bunch.
Yeah, it was not a good show. It was kind of mean-spirited.
It's very middle of the road. I think it had some funny gags, but yeah, it was a bit mean. It was one of those. It reminded me a lot of Level E. Not as good.
Yeah, I guess in general it was like,
Same
this
tone.
is one of those sort of middling Shonen Jump things.
Yeah. I put something else down here at the bottom I've forgotten about. Asura, which is a movie I saw in cinemas. About it's just weird hyper-violent CG shite. I don't know. I actually don't remember why I hated it so much, but I hated it.
Well, I guess that's that.
And that's it. That was
Yeah, very thin season. Summer seasons hadn't bloated quite as much by this point.
We spent a long time talking about that, but that's because we spent like 20 minutes talking about just Sword Art Online and Humanity Has Declined.
Yeah, a lot of stuff about light novels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hey.
it is what it is. It was
And
what
I
it was.
have remembered the ending song to Humanity Decline, because it was by the band that did the ending song to Azumanga Daioh. Because they got this very recognizable voice, like...
Oh, it's that floaty sort of voice.
Yes.
It worked very well for that ending.
And it worked well for Azumanga as well. That was...
I think I would probably put it... You know what? If I think about it, it's sort of like a more down-to-earth Bojiro Suzuki.
Yeah. Anyway.
Which is to say, no music videos involving bears trapping you in cages or men taking baby dolls on dates.
Yes. Anyway.
That was summer 2012.
We'll see you next time.
Remember, only bring adult dolls on dates.
どうしました膝に乗るリスの子